The accident was very emotional for my wife and I. We had 2 kids. I stayed with our son 90% of the time, and my wife stayed with our daughter 90% of the time. And our main focus was making sure our kids were healing properly and getting the attention they needed.
Probably at least once a month, somebody say, I'm just not the type of person who sues. And it's that mentality that stops them from reaching out and getting the help that they need. And I just try to explain to people that this system is here for a reason, and it's here for somebody like you.
Our younger son and our daughter were in a pretty substantial accident, and it was just, didn't know where life was going to take it and what path that we were on and what was going to come about of it. Not knowing what was going to happen, we did a little bit of research and found Tim.
I still remember the house was full of family members and people who were there giving moral support to the family. And we sat down at the kitchen table and I talked them through the process. I remember seeing how terribly injured his daughter was and realizing that we needed to do everything possible to make sure that she was going to get the kind of compensation she deserved.
My wife does a lot more research than what I do, and she has more questions as far as medical stuff goes and all that, so she had double her plate. And I was still recovering from a bad accident, and so was our oldest son. So in a matter of 14 months, my wife almost lost all 4 of us, so her plate was definitely beyond full.
The father of a daughter realizing that the doctors at the hospital were doing amazing work with this girl, but that she was going to live with facial scarring for the rest of her life was heartbreaking. And then as the father of a son, realizing that no matter what the law enforcement investigation showed and how many experts told him that he did nothing wrong, this young man was dealing with guilt over not being able to protect his sister.
And then on the flip side of it, you got to worry about what's going to happen financially with everything, and just a lot of worries in a lot of different directions from it.
When I started researching the accident, I realized why the crash had happened, and that just made me mad. The driver of the semi was 80 years old, and the semi company decided that he was still fit to drive a semi. And it was his issues with reaction time that caused this crash to occur.
The way they present themselves and the action they took to get things started and just take control of things, I'm sure there's a million things that happened that we didn't know about.
Once we realized why the crash happened, then the focus was finding out what sort of medical care was going to heal these 2 children as best that they could be healed. The crash had been so traumatic that after 1 day of preparation for their depositions, I got a call from Craig, and he said, I don't want to put my kids through this anymore. Tim, you need to find a way to get a fair settlement without deposition.
It was definitely more than just an attorney-client situation. I feel it was definitely more personable, and they're very respectful about all of our needs too, so I appreciated it.
I knew that we were going to get the full settlement in that case when I sent the medical illustrations of what the clients were going to be facing as they got older to the defense lawyer. And he picked up the phone and called me and he said, I have kids and those pictures are hard to look at. Let me talk to the insurance company. We've got to get this case done.
He handled everything very well. We had plenty of communication and notice. He's got a really good team that he's built there. If we had questions, we had contacts to get a hold of. It definitely gave us some relief not having to ponder the question and worry about what might come about of it.
When I got the call, it was really a great moment because I was able to call Craig and his wife, who had just been racked constantly with doubt about, are we doing the right thing? Are we taking care of our kids the way that we should? And being able to call them and say, we're going to settle the case. It's going to end now. You are going to get every penny of the insurance policy, of each of the insurance policies that were in play.
It took a lot of weight off our shoulders. Like I say, more of my wife. It was definitely a relief for her that it was done. I mean, being that it settled before court was definitely a relief. And everything so far has turned out for the best. There's still healing to be happening, but time will heal that stuff. They just gotta be kids again and not have to worry about some of those appointments and meetings and all that stuff.
And we are going to set this up so that all the bills are paid, everything that you have to worry about in the future is going to be covered. And you could feel the sense of relief over the phone that they had, that this was finally over and that they could go back to living their lives. Any chance that I have to help somebody settle their case or go to trial and get a verdict that's going to give them the money they need to get the medical treatment that they need for the rest of their lives, I feel really good about that.